3 more huge knockout games today. A midfielder who was the best player in all of Africa 4 years in a row. A boy who played for his country at just 15 years old. And a stadium so high up in the mountains, it leaves visitors gasping for air. Let's go! In our first game today, Ivory Coast against Norway. 2 teams who, believe it or not, had never played each other before. Not even once! Norway opened the score before the end of the halftime. The Ivory Coast started to push back and even scored one as well. But at the end, a late goal from Haaland sent the Vikings into the next round. Final result, 2-1. Let's meet Cote d'Ivoire, known as the Elephants. This is a huge day for them. The very first time in their whole history they have reached the knockout rounds. They once had a brilliant midfielder named Yaya Toure. So clever and so good that he was named the best player in all of Africa 4 years in a row, the first person ever to do that. And here come Norway. Their captain, Martin Odegaard, has an amazing story. He was so talented that he played his very first game for Norway when he was just 15 years old, the youngest player ever to wear the shirt. Imagine playing for your country while you are still at school. In New York, France beat Sweden 3-0. After a very even first half, Mbappe opened the score in the 45th minute. Then, the second half was a beautiful dance from the French, who dominated the game entirely. One of the strongest opponents for the Swedish, who go back home after a great World Cup performance. France are one of the giants of the game. Back in 1998, in front of their home fans, a magical player called Zinedine Zlatan scored not 1, but 2 goals with his head in the final to win France the World Cup for the very first time. A moment a whole country will never forget. And Sweden have always produced wonderful players. The most famous of all is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, known for the most spectacular goals you have ever seen. Flips, volleys, and once an unbelievable kick from far, far away with his back to the goal. Pure magic. And in our last game today, Mexico against Ecuador. The Mexican team opened the score and even doubled before halftime. Ecuador tried for all means to score some goals, but the Mexican team seemed too strong. The match ended up 2-0, and the locals went through with their 4th unbeaten game in a row. Mexico loved their football more than almost anyone. They once had a superstar striker called Hugo Sanchez, famous for scoring with amazing acrobatic bicycle kicks, and then celebrating with a big somersault. He is one of the greatest goal scorers the game has ever seen. And here come Ecuador. Here's something amazing. Their home stadium, high in the city of Quito, sits so far up in the mountains near the clouds that the air is thin and visiting teams often find it hard to breathe. Ecuador feel right at home up there. So tell me, with so many wonderful countries at this World Cup, where in the world should I fly off to visit first? Write it in the comments. Like and subscribe so you don't miss a single story. I'm Simon. See you tomorrow.